Hey, what's up? Back here, continuing my last vlog. What was it, number 4? I guess this is number 5. So, I was talking about, I kind of got interrupted in my last video when I was talking about the whole, the challenge of trying to follow a spiritual path. And then you have the strong sexual desire, unsatisfied sex desires. So, of course, there is, a whole wide variety of teachings about how sex and spirituality go together. And of course, some of them will teach that there's no restrictions whatsoever. You just enjoy sex, you have this desire, and they teach that there's no reason to try to restrain yourself. You just pretty much just enjoy sex as much as you like, basically, which of course is the easy way. But maybe in the end it's not easy if you don't actually make spiritual advancement, because you remain attached to sex, which, as I explained before, is, according to the Vedic teachings, sex is the essence of material existence. It is basically the core of material existence. Everything comes out of sex life and material existence. So according to this teaching, that we are cycling, basically we're recycling in this material existence, lifetime after lifetime. And the strongest attachment that we have, which keeps us coming back for more material bodies and more material experiences, is the sex. So, pretty much everybody is, maybe some old people that are like, but even old folks, there's people that have sex desire and sex impulse up until the day they die, 80 or 90 years old. So maybe there's some people that it's the sex desire has waned off a bit after some time. There's some people that are they're just that way. They're born, they're called asexual, and they don't have sex desires. But that's very uncommon. I think, I don't know what the statistics are, but it's in the vast majority of people have the sex desires. And, everybody has different levels, different degrees of sexual desire. Sometimes at different times in our life, we have greater sex desire. And some people have extreme sex desires. There's people who are nymphos, and they can't get enough sex. They have sex all day long, every day. And then there's, on the other spectrum, there's, like I said, there's people who are, asexual. They don't have. But basically, for the most part, most of us, we have this, this is the drive of human life. This is the attraction between male and female. And then there's nowadays it's so common, there's homosex. So it's not only just male and female, but basically the same thing in terms of this a sexual desire for sense gratification. Of course, some teachings, some religions will teach that homosexuality is a more perverse form of sex that is not really intended by God's plan for human beings, because it's just gross sense gratification. There's no chance of procreation in homosex. So religious sex, according to the Vedas, the essence, the ideal purpose of sex is procreation. And when sex is done particularly for procreation for creating children, rearing children, and hopefully God-conscious children, then that is religious, righteous sex life. But the next level is, at least people who are people who are married. Very few people are going to only have sex like once or twice to create children, of course. So, most people are but the next thing is at least it's recommended that people are married. They have a dedicated partner, like a soul partner, whatever you want to call it, a spouse. And they have sex with their spouse rather than having sex with all kinds of people. So that's like the next level is restricting sex to one's spouse, and then is restricting sex even more with a spouse, but like less frequently. And then there's those who are married, but they don't have they only have sex for having children, which is, I don't know how many people actually do that. I don't know if it actually really exists, but maybe there's some rare souls out there, possibly. And then there's people who are, practice celibacy. There's monks, people who are nuns and monks, and people who are in religious, lifestyles, and they refrain from sex. But sometimes that backfires too. And you hear about, priests, and it's usually males. I don't know why, but a lot of times though, you do hear about females. The women, more often I hear about women teachers in high schools who end up getting involved with a younger student, and they have sex. Usually it's a boy that's like 14 or 15 or 16 or something. And then they get caught, sooner or later the parents find out, somebody finds out, and then the teacher ends up going to jail. And it's usually, most often I've seen where it's surprisingly, it's been females. Happens to men too, but more often somehow I've seen females. And they're reported as, what do they call them? Abusers, sexual abuse. They call it sexual abuse, and I don't consider it to be sexual abuse if it's consensual. They say it's they're a child, they're not old enough to make their own decision, but to me it seems a little ridiculous. It's not like a forced rape or something like that. Most boys in high school would be really pumped, would be very happy to get to have sex with a hot teacher. Remember that song "Hot for Teacher"? So sure, plenty of boys in high school would like to have sex with a teacher. I mean, that's pretty nice treatment from the teacher if you get to have sex with a nice teacher. Anyhow, but just the point was that it seems to be mostly women this happens with. I don't know why, but then with the priests and the religious orders, for some reason it's usually always men. You rarely hear. Maybe it happens. Of course, everything happens. Like all kinds of crazy things happen. So it happens with women too. But usually you don't hear about that.
Hey.
Oh, hey, buddy.
No, dude.
Good evening.
Sorry.
No problem. A little tiny dog puppy there, Malibu, tried to rush up to me. Anyhow, so yeah, in the religious orders, you always feel often you hear about these priests who have sexually abused children, usually boys. It's like a homosexual child abuse case. It seems to happen all the time. It happened in the Catholic churches. So many, they've had it's like an epidemic of these cases. So many priests have been exposed in these perverse type of situations, sexually abusing children. And it's happened in, numerous different religious orders. So it just, artificially, even in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that to artificially repress these desires is like something that doesn't really work. I forget exactly. I'm paraphrasing. It says something to that extent that you can't just artificially repress these desires. You have to engage yourself somehow in some superior type of activity to rechannel that energy. And the label for that is called sexual transmutation. NoFap. Sexual transmutation, that term became famous through the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. One of the most famous self-help books. And there's a whole chapter in there about sexual transmutation and how to somehow utilize that energy, that sexual energy, instead of releasing it, using that energy to for creative purposes and productive purposes. So it sounds, in theory, it sounds like a great idea. It sounds ideal. In NoFap, there seems to be a lot of people who have been successful, doing the 90-day NoFap, or there's some guys out there who've been going for some years now. And I had a 3-year stretch from the age of 20, I was 20 to 23. I had a 3-year NoFap stretch. This was back in from 1993 to 1996, when I think the term NoFap didn't even exist back in those days. But for me, it was like a spiritual sort of awakening, the beginning of my discovery of my spiritual path in life. And I had just a lot of inspiration at that time, and I started on the basically on the celibacy. It was about being like living as just a spiritual life, and trying to improve my consciousness, practicing meditation. And I started the vegetarian diet, and I was good for 3 years. It wasn't a challenge at all. It was like I somehow, miraculously at that time, I was not even sexual desires I didn't have any sexual thoughts or desires. I think once in a while, like once a month, I'd have maybe some dream, what's it called, nocturnal emission, like, what do they call that? Nocturnal emission. What's the other term? When it comes out in your dream at night while you're sleeping. Not masturbating, but it just comes out on its own from a dream or something while you're sleeping. So that's not intentional. So I went like that for 3 years, and I think I'd have one of those dreams like that maybe once every month or every other month or so. And I went on like that for 3 years, but not once did I ever masturbate. I never even thought about masturbating. I never even came close. I never, what do they call it? Juicing? I think that's the term, juicing, when you are edging. Yeah, like you're trying to do NoFap, but then you start like masturbating without ejaculating. They call it edging, and you try to sometimes you come close to orgasm, but that's the kind of like not really. That's sort of like a cheating method of, it's not really following the NoFap program, or it's just it's a lower level of NoFap. There's, I think, what do they call it? Hard mode. Hard mode means like, no edging whatsoever, no touching, really, just no fondling yourself, and not really indulging in porn, without looking at pornography. Sometimes they do that, like people will look at pornography trying to look at it without masturbating, and you're just basically playing with fire. If you're edging, or you're looking at porn and thinking that you're not gonna ejaculate, then you're pretty much fooling yourself. I know from my own experience that I'm sure most people know it. Maybe some people are able to hold out for a while, but I know once you start indulging in thoughts and looking at pictures and videos, or touching, playing with yourself, whatever, you're just done. You're pretty much done. You might as well just let it out and not even try anymore. At least do a reset or whatever. But I don't know, man. I've been going on now for the last, now I'm going close to 50. We'll be 50 this year in a couple months. So I started, I think I started when I was like 12. Masturbate. I think sex desires started happening around 12 years old. Started masturbation from that age, and then until at 20, at 22 or 23, 12 to like 10 years. So let's say masturbation for like 10 years, and then I had like 3 years of full on like hardcore NoFap, and then that took me up till 26. And now I'll be almost 50. So then after that, another 24 years of back to, the fapping program and sex. Not a whole lot of sex partners, because after I got into spirituality, I never slept around with girls or anything. But I've been married And so I had, I had a couple occasions with a couple girls before getting married and stuff when I was, I was still kind of like I was coming out from being a monk doing the celibacy thing. And then the sex desire started to come back. And so I guess I was kind of like, I was getting ready, open to marriage. So I was testing the waters a little bit. I didn't date around a lot. I had a couple of occasions with a couple girls. And then I got married not too long after. And at first, during marriage, there was pretty regular sex. But then after, I don't know how many years, a few years, it started to wear off. Mostly because she was considerably older than me, and she had some health issues and some we call it thyroid, like a hypothyroid, and some hormonal issues and things like that. And I think that a combination of things, plus her like religious principles and religious beliefs, and combined with her medical and physiological conditions, all these things combined together, basically she didn't have any more sex desire anymore at all. But I still have, plenty of sex desire, and we don't have any. There's no sexual contact anymore, and we're not even like that, like attracted to each other that way anymore. We're just like friends basically now, but I still have sex desire. But at the same time, I have this desire to be, to make spiritual progress, and to, ultimately get out of material consciousness, perhaps even out of this cycle of material existence. And supposedly, giving up sex is like, it's a huge part of that process. So yeah, I've been on and off with the NoFap, and I haven't even made the 90 days. I think I've made like maybe 3 or 4 weeks at the most, over these last, I don't know how many years. And I keep on trying to keep them getting knocked back. You just feel like you're going to explode. I mean, sometimes you build up that energy and you're feeling good for a while. I start to feel a little more energetic, but sometimes I didn't even. Even after a few weeks, I was actually not feeling energetic. I was feeling more tired. So it didn't, I don't know, the results vary for me. But regardless, either way, after a few weeks, I feel like I just get, the sex desire, just have to let it out. It gets to become where you're just constantly thinking about sex all the time. And, I'm kind of like open to the possibility of, having sex with someone, because I have nobody like to have this experience. But then on the other side, I'm like, part of me doesn't want to like really just have a quick one-nighter, or even just to get involved with somebody karmically. People think that it's just a free one-night stand is just a quick, easy, no strings attached, enjoyment. But according to spiritual teachings, there's a karmic bond. When you have sex with somebody, you're exchanging. You're not just exchanging the experience and the bodily, contact. You're exchanging karmic energy. You're taking on some of their karma. They're taking some of your karma. You're creating some kind of bond that might even, keep you connected to that person beyond this lifetime. And also, it's explained that there's supposed to be not only bonds with that person, but that person if they've had sex with numerous other people, then they have a karmic bond with those people and the people that they've had sex with, and the list goes on and on, like the World Wide Web, like a web of computers that are connected to each other. So karmically, there's supposed to be this karmic connection, and you're getting involved with a whole bunch of karma when you're having sex with somebody. And so that's why, spiritually, according to the Vedic teachings, one is recommended to, ideally have a sex partner, supposed to be the wife, but then if you have a wife that doesn't that's not doing the job, then what are you supposed to do? Then I guess apparently you're supposed to just suck it up, and just deal with it and just try to embrace it somehow and take it as a challenge to, try to get to the next level in your spiritual growth, I suppose. But like I said, sometimes this backfires when it's a repression, like you try to withhold this this bottled up. When desire gets bottled up, it's like you feel like you could explode. And like I said, sometimes it comes out in this, when they try to artificially restrain themselves, these people, they end up, it comes out in some perverse way, So there's no easy answer here. The scriptures, the spiritual teachings, they give you a lot of good advice and guidance and stuff, but sometimes you just have to use your own discretion and try to make your own best decision. You just do your best, do what you have to do, what you got to do. So, but for me, this has been the biggest challenges in my life, is dealing with this unsatisfied sexual desire, which goes contrary to my spiritual path, not having a partner to satisfy it with, not even actually having a partner to not only satisfy sex with, but just just the partnership of being with somebody. Like the person that I married, not only did the sex wane off, but we live together, we get along, but we don't have any deep conversation. She doesn't really, we just don't connect that way, man. She's not really too interested in the things that I'm talking about and the things that I'm interested in, and she's into her own thing. And we just don't really have any deep kind of conversation. And the time that we spent together has its limitations too, because there's a lot of things that she's just, I don't know, she's older and she's frail and she's not into doing a lot of things. She never likes to go out anywhere at night. A lot of times it's too hot for her to go anywhere. She's not an active person. She likes to take a ride in the car, but she don't like to do much like going for bike rides or going walking, hiking. She just, in some ways she's not physically fit to do that, but in other ways she's just not mentally interested either at all in doing a lot of things that I like to do. So, this is the challenges of life, of this life of mine, is companionship, the lack of companionship, female companionship, and the lack of male companionship, or just companionship in general in terms of friends. I haven't connected with people. My experiences with people have been a huge challenge. Anytime I've ever somewhat connected with persons, it ends up somehow going off somehow. It ends up just fizzling out, and relationships always just go off course and get broken and are lost. And after years and years, any persons that I ever knew, everything is gone. Every connection with every person is pretty much gone. And I'm just pretty much on my own most of the time, and just have to learn how to make the best of this, how to cope with it. And on the other hand, I don't want to be I'm not going to beat myself up about it and go out just searching, I depend, I need other people. On the other hand, I kind of I take it as an opportunity to try to be more independent and not rely on others, not be needy of others for satisfaction, whether it be sex or whether it be, friendship or companionship or company, whatever, to try to be, just satisfied within yourself. And then if those things come to you, then it's fine, but you're not going to be down and out if you don't have them. You're going to be satisfied just to be by yourself if that's how it has to be. If that's the what do they call it, the hand that has been dealt to you in this life, then I guess, learning to deal with that to the best possible, and try to become self-fulfilled from within, trying to be more connected to your relationship with God. So what I'm trying to turn all these circumstances into something favorable, learning the lessons of life, rolling with the punches, learning to just tolerate all conditions, learning to see the benefit in every experience. One of my main mantras that I focus on every day, which is my philosophy of life, is I've created every experiences, or I'm creating every experience, and I welcome every challenge for growth. So the idea is that everything that's happening to me, whether it seems good or bad, is something that I have created somehow by my past actions, not only in this life but in previous lives, by my own past actions and desires and deeds and thoughts and words and everything that I've done. It culminates, our experiences culminate as a result of all our past actions. So learning to take responsibility of everything that's happening to you, rather than beating yourself up over it or getting yourself down over it, or just being depressed about what's happening to you. Just learning to accept it, that you've created it. It's not that the universe is like a bad place, or like there's a God that's against you, or the life is against you, or God is against you. It's just that this is a result of your own creation, but you can turn it around by realizing that you're responsible for what you create, and then starting now every day to create, improvements, looking at it positive, because every time you get yourself beat down about something, it's not going to help. You have to see positive. The more positive you're going to process everything, the more positive things are eventually going to, manifest into your life. So these challenges for me, I spoke of, the main things was like just low energy and like persistent mild depression that's been going on for years, many years, most of my life, since the age of like 12, 13 years old. Now I'll be almost 50, and I'm still dealing with this. I haven't found something that's cured this, really. It hasn't completely obliterated me or devastated me or made me want to like end my life or something, but it's been many years. It's still going on. It's kind of rough to deal with. I'm still dealing with it, but that's one of the main challenges today. I had barely any energy, man. I had to take a nap, and I didn't wake up feeling refreshed. I woke up feeling exhausted and drained, so it's been like really challenging. I talked about in the video right before this, I was talking a lot about how I've tried everything, basically. I've tried everything, everything you can imagine, from nutrition and going to the doctor and getting blood tests and, meditation and diet, spirituality and exercise and doctors and blood tests and trying antidepressants. I've tried everything, man, everything across the board. So I can't say I haven't tried, but I'm still trying. I'm still searching. I won't give up. I don't have a choice, really. I just got to keep on pushing forward until I find a breakthrough that's going to, give me like a huge amount of energy to take it to the next level. But, the lack of energy, the persistent mild depression, the unsatisfied sex desires, having married to someone that, having, a partner that doesn't fulfill those needs, of companionship, of partnership, of company, and not only just sexual satisfaction, but all those things that you would want from a partner, not getting that fulfillment. And then the situation with the people, just the experiences with people just being such a dud, basically. So yeah, this has been pretty challenging. It's been a bit of a challenge this lifetime, but I'm still going. I'm still forging ahead. I'm making these videos. This is my own therapy. This is my own, psychotherapy, whatever, I'm not going to go pay for a psychiatrist, and I don't even see the point. Even if I had all the money, I don't think I would do that. I see how that would help anyhow, but I just talk it out. I'm talking to God. I think God would be the greatest healer, therapist, whatever, inspiration. So I don't know. I think when the time is right, then your time will come eventually. But you have to go. Sometimes you just have to go through whatever it is, and you just got to keep on pushing ahead. Maybe it's this whole lifetime. I don't know. But I just gotta keep trying, keep trying to stay inspired. And I think this helps. This is a good therapy. I talk about it. It helps to talk about it a lot, even if you're just talking to the video camera, you're talking to YouTube, whatever. You're not even talking. No one might even be watching these videos. I mean, I've been making these kind of videos for some years. Barely any. There's very, very, very few views on these videos, and I don't know if it's anybody that watches them didn't watch them enough for YouTube to keep recommending them, I suppose. Whatever it is, didn't get picked up by the YouTube algorithm. So, that's another thing, You can be feel disappointed in life sometimes, if you've been doing YouTube for years, uploading videos, you see other people are getting millions of hits and views and they're making money and everything, and you're just still not going anywhere. So, I could be down on that, but I'm not really down about it, really. I would have liked to have had some more progress, but I just, whatever. You just got to accept time. Sometimes you got to there's no point in being down about anything, because it never, ever helps. You just have to be happy and grateful for whatever you got, and see everything as a blessing. So many things is a blessing in disguise. Hardships in this material world are an impetus. Even difficulties and letdowns and challenges, anything, that doesn't go your way, it's actually just another opportunity for you to rise above, to step up to the next level of consciousness and to let go, to become detached from all the things of this material existence. It's one of the prayers we had in the spiritual path was, I have no desires for fame, followers, fortune, wine, women, wealth, and all that kind of stuff. So getting followers on YouTube is not necessarily spiritual growth. If you're getting fame and notoriety and recognition and all kinds of, boosting of your ego, it might make you feel good for a while, but it's not necessarily this spiritual growth. Spiritual growth is getting free of all the things of the ego, and being praised and worshipped, and having followers and having people love you, and getting opportunities to enjoy with women. It's not necessarily the spiritual path. Not that I'm knocking it. It's wonderful. I mean, everybody loves all that stuff, but it's not necessarily the spiritual path. It's all just, it may be good karma stuff. Good karma stuff gives it a chance to have a good time in life. Just enjoy life and have a good time. But it's not necessarily to take you out from this material existence. So, yeah, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up with that. I think that pretty much sums it up pretty good for tonight. Thank you for listening, and be